Man may live without books. What is knowledge but grieving? He may live without hope. What is hope but deceiving? He may live without love. What is passion but pining? But where is the man that can live without dining? We're making turtle soup from 1898. Actually, mock turtle soup. Don't forget, like, subscribe, all that fun jazz. Now join us on our journey cooking through history. All right, well, like I said, we're making a mock turtle soup. No turtles were hurt, so don't fret, only a cow. And this recipe comes from New Orleans. That's gonna drive people crazy. New Orleans, and it's the New Orleans Cookbook by the Women's Parsonage and Home Mission Society of Parker Memorial, circa 1898. Now I tried to do some research on that church. I don't think it's still around. There are some other ones, but hey, the cookbook was fun. It was from 1898, and that little poem came from their preference. And another little part of their preference that I thought was really funny, and that's why I love old cookbooks, was that when they were writing it, very few, if any, are original. Talking about the recipes, many have been tried and tested by the mothers and grandmothers of the donors, while others are more modern, thoroughly up to date. Right? That's right, 1898. We're up to date. But each recipe carries an enthusiastic recommendation of her whose name is subscribed, meaning who wrote or submitted the recipe. So that's the kind of the fun thing about going through these old cookbooks and just kind of reading them back in the day. And since it is Mardi Gras, and we're celebrating Mardi Gras this week, and we made an awesome jambalaya earlier, we decided to do something different, a little turtle soup. Now, I have had actual turtle soup. It is different, but it is a big thing down in the bayou, especially down with Cajuns and New Orleans, where my grandparents kind of grew up. Because, you know, they hunt, they fish, they use what they have, so they use the turtles. And one way to make turtle edible is by cooking it in a soup. So that's what we're doing, but we're using beef instead. And this recipe came from a Mrs. J.P. Work. But I did find a couple of cool recipes I think I want to try out of this cookbook. A oyster gumbo filet. It sounded really good, so that maybe
sounds pretty yummy.
We'll revisit, but it takes a lot of oysters, and I didn't want to get that many oysters. So, first things first, as Miss Work says, to go to work, is we're going to take a spoon full of lard, and yes, that is lard. And these are how these directions are. They're not like what we're used to today. I want a tablespoon of this, I want this.
It's not super exact, yeah.
1 large spoon of lard, which I did, and 1 of flour browned together. So some of these recipes are fun just trying to interpret and like, did I get them right? Did I get them wrong?
Although look, back in 1898, it was still 1-to-1.
That's hey. So ultimately, that's what we're doing. We're making a roux. And it says till brown, so it's gonna be not really a brick roux. It's gonna be darker than a blonde roux. Well, we're gonna get that going.
How long does that usually take to get a roux brown?
Now if you're making gumbo, it could take, up to an hour.
Wow.
To make a really dark gumbo roux. That's why most people bake them, because you just constantly have to stir and stir and stir, because you can burn your roux pretty quick, and then no one is happy.
Yeah, but you don't really like a burnt taste in your gumbo.
No. So we're just going to kind of make a brown roux, which is a little darker. It'll take you about maybe 10 minutes or so.
Cool.
But while that is working, remember when you are making any roux, it looks like I need a little more flour, since I'm not really, I'm measuring how Mrs. Work does. But from my own experience, it looks like I need a little more flour. We're gonna let this kind of cook. Now, the rest of this recipe goes add 1 pound of beef chopped small. And so we just got some stew meat, and that's what we're gonna use. Let that go for a minute. And then also, she said half a can of tomatoes. Now, I did do some research of the different sizes and what cans they would possibly have that were commercially available. And this best represents it. To my research and understanding, that's what we're gonna go with. So that's the only kind of variant of doing these type of old recipes is, it is kind of a gamble. It may be delicious, it may be horrible, but it's still fun. All right, well, that is about as brown as we want to get it without burning it. So we're gonna throw in our stew meat, 1 pound, and we're gonna kind of coat it with the roux and kind of just brown our meat. And that's looking good, looking good. This might actually be not too bad, although we're just using water, but it seems like a lot of water. But I'm gonna trust her. I'm gonna trust her. If it doesn't work out, then we'll make it better.
It's true. You never know.
So we're gonna start, once I add half a can of our tomatoes. And since these are whole tomatoes, I'm gonna kind of use my spoon to break them up.
Yeah.
I don't know why she just didn't use the whole can, but you know, maybe they're being frugal back then.
Maybe she had something else she would use it for.
That's true, that's true. And then once we've done that, it says 6 whole allspice berries. Allspice berries are a little difficult to come by, especially this time of year. So I looked up, and the best I can find, the best ratio is ground allspice, and for about 6 berries, a hefty 1/4 teaspoon. And then she says salt and pepper to taste. So I'm gonna throw in a little salt, and then you know my pepper to taste.
Might as well just throw half that container in there.
Exactly. Right, there we go. I mean, for right now, it's smelling pretty good. It's beef, it's tomatoes. It's not bad. And then, this is the only part I'm kind of worried about. 3 quarts of water.
That's a lot of water.
That is a lot of water for a stew or turtle soup. I guess it's supposed to be a soup, but like I said, we're gonna be cooking this and simmering it. I'm gonna guess it's gonna take 45 minutes all the way up to an hour, hour and a half.
I agree. It's probably at least gonna take an hour.
Yeah, so we're gonna bring that bad boy up to boil, and then once it's simmered, we'll put the lid on it, and we'll just let it simmer for about 45 minutes. We'll check if the meat's tender, the soup's good to go. If the meat's not tender, we need a little more time. So we'll be back. All right, well, it has been a little over 45 minutes. I think it's gonna be as good as it's gonna be, which I think is gonna be wonderful.
We shall see, won't we?
Mock turtle soup. So to finish this guy off, I'm gonna bring this over here. Miss Work says, in a big soup tureen, put 2 hard-boiled eggs, but since I don't have a big soup tureen, I have tiny ones. We're going to put a few hard-boiled eggs in the bottom here and make little personal ones. And then she does say to finish it off with a little bit of fresh lemon juice. And that's exactly what we're gonna do. Now, it doesn't smell bad. It looks like turtle soup in some aspect. But
Yeah.
this is the fun. Is gonna be tasting it.
Yeah, this is a taste of history.
Ooh, yes. And that's the fun thing, you know, when you play around with historical recipes, I do recommend have some sandwich meat and bread for backup.
Yeah.
Or-
If you're gonna make this out of the campsite, I wouldn't rely on.
Yeah, this is more having fun. But hey, we've hit some winners.
That's true. We
So-
have.
And a little
Fresh
bit
lime.
of fresh lemon juice. If you wanted to, throw in a sprig or two of parsley just to make it pretty. All right, are you? I know you're excited.
Oh yeah, I am, and I'm on my way.
I got you a spoon.
Oh,
All right.
this
Now,
is
it's gonna be hot.
mock turtle soup.
Yes, indeed. I would get a little bit of the beef, a little bit of egg,
Beef, egg, some tomato,
plenty of that delicious.
broth.
Yep.
Yep. All right, you ready?
Cheers.
Well,
It's not horrible.
it's not. It's not gross.
It's really just not much of any.
Yeah, it's like, if you need sustenance, this
Well, I mean,
will.
It's from 1898.
Yeah,
So, but I
I'll
will
take care of
say,
you.
I could probably use this as a base and come up with an up-to-date recipe and
Yeah.
resubmit it for the 2024 New Orleans cookbook.
Exactly.
But I think it's not bad. It
Yeah.
really,
It.
definitely the lemon juice you need.
Yeah, the lemon juice.
That acid really helped because we did kind of taste it to adjust the salt.
Uh huh.
I was a little worried, not gonna
Yeah.
lie. But yes.
The egg added also a nice little bite to it too,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's a necessity too.
Yeah.
But I do think with a few small touches, you could make this into a really good soup.
Yeah, but I'm telling you what, it's better than some canned soups I've had.
Yeah, that is a fact. That
So,
actually was
hey.
better.
So, Ms. Wirt, good job.
Yeah, definitely. Especially, I would say, for that time period. This probably,
Yeah.
with the ingredients they had too, it could have tasted even better back then.
Yeah, and some things we have to guesstimate,
Yeah.
but I tell you what, give it a try. That's
Yeah.
the fun thing. Go find an old cookbook. Go to the Library of Congress website. They have a bunch of old cookbooks that will show up, and you can see digital copies of them. And yeah, just pick out random recipes and just make them. It's fun.
Yeah. Just do it.
But remember, always have that backup frozen pizza waiting,
Something like that.
because there are some misses.
Yeah.
No, our taste buds have changed over time. So, all right. Well, we're going to enjoy our soup. Mm-hmm. And I hope everybody has a good Mardi Gras.
Yes. Yes. Hopefully so.
All right. Now, join us next week on another journey cooking through history.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really a lot better with the lemon juice.
Yeah. Well, let's make sure we get a good little picture of it.